Clement Bonnereau joins me on the set today to take a look at what the papers have been saying. Hi, Clement.
Hi, Jeannie.
We're going to start in Iran with reactions to Tehran's decision to walk away from some parts of the 2015 nuclear deal.
That's right. Iran has given the US a 60-day ultimatum to preserve the agreement. That's the headline on the front page of the Tehran Times. The paper says the country is still very much committed to the agreement, but it cannot put up with any more bullying from Washington. In its editorial, the paper also points the finger at other signatories of the agreement, namely European countries, slamming what it says is Europe's passivity. It accuses European nations of showing no interest in standing up to Donald Trump and preserving the 2015 deal. Kaihan, an Arabic language newspaper, meanwhile, says Iran's position should not be misunderstood. Tehran has always complied with the 2015 agreement, it says, but the ball is now in Washington's court, the paper calling on the US president to tone down the rhetoric and avoid any escalation of violence.
And of course, those tensions got ramped up again today with Donald Trump slapping new sanctions on Iran. A full-out confrontation, though, between Iran and the US would really have far-reaching consequences.
Absolutely. The Atlantic warns that the flashpoint between America and Iran could be Iraq's militias. The Shiite forces backed by Iran played a key role in the fight against the Islamic State group, sometimes cooperating with the United States. But with Washington and Tehran now at odds, the Atlantic says there are fears that the militias could now turn on each other and perhaps turn on US forces still present in the country. The Washington Post, meanwhile, warns of another risk for the US. The paper argues that Russia would be the big winner of an Iran deal fallout. Moscow did play a key role, of course, in negotiating the deal back in 2015. But now that the US has walked away from it, it can blame Washington for its failure, further undermining the US's influence in the region.
President Trump also facing criticism at home 2 days after the New York Times revealed he made losses of over $1 billion in the late 80s as a property tycoon.
That's right. The revelations about Trump's past tax reports underline the importance of examining his more recent returns, writes the New York Times in its editorial this Thursday. The paper reminds us that the president refused to release his tax returns during the presidential campaign in 2016, offering inconsistent excuses for breaking his promise. The public deserves to know more about Trump's finances, also says the Washington Post. What else does he have to hide, asks the paper. Trump has spent years building an image as a successful businessman. Well, perhaps he was lying all along. That's a message echoed by this cartoon in Politico. It makes a reference, of course, to Trump's Taj Mahal, a casino in Atlantic City, which filed for bankruptcy 4 times in 26 years. Here it's no longer called Taj Mahal, but Taj Mirage.
Now, some papers are saying Trump's refusal to release his tax returns might be part of a deliberate strategy of self-victimization.
That's what France's Le Monde argues. The paper says that by describing the latest revelations as fake news and refusing to provide evidence, Trump is deliberately trying to instill confusion. He wants his supporters to believe that the media is running a large-scale disinformation campaign against him. He wants them to think he's a victim, persecuted for speaking up the truth and going against the establishment. Le Monde says it's a risky strategy, but one that could help him win in 2020.
Clement, a later note now out of the UK, where pictures of the newly named royal baby, Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor, have appeared, and they are on the front pages there in the UK.
Yes, he was introduced to the world for the first time on Wednesday, and he makes it onto pretty much all of the front pages of today's British newspapers. It's Archie is the deadline in the Daily Mail, alongside a photo of Meghan showing her son to his great-grandmother, Queen Elizabeth. The Times, meanwhile, writes that the little boy is the perfect touch to a modern family, being the first royal baby, of course, of mixed-race heritage.
All right, we'll wrap up now with some rather odd news out of Germany.
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Is it Superman? No, it's a pigeon caught on a speed camera in Germany flying at 45 kilometers per hour in a 30 kilometer an hour zone. Local authorities published the picture last week, which you can see here, and it's since gone viral. Now, under normal circumstances, the penalty for going over the speed limit would be 25 euros. Whether the bird will be able to pay the fine is another matter.
And it might just be me, but that bird looks like it's on steroids. That's a big pigeon.
It does, actually.
Clément, thank you for that. Clément Bonnereau with that look at the press today. Don't forget, if you want to get another look at the press review, you can always watch it again on our website, france24.com.